Hola amigos, we're going to talk about that 365 project. I haven't talked about it in a while, so I'm just going to run down some of the images and talk about what the idea was behind them and how they were shot. Right off the bat, a lot of the shots were taken with this iPhone that I'm shooting this video on, simply because it was practical and it was the thing I had on hand. As much as I would love to carry around my Canon, it's a big camera and the lenses are pretty big and clunky. So instead of walking around all day with one of those, I decided, I have my phone in my pocket most of the day, and decided to use that instead. And for the most part, under the right lighting conditions, you end up with pretty good pictures, as we were about to see. Not all of them were shot with the iPhone. Some of them were shot with my Canon 5D Mark III. And let's go.
My Flickr account to show you what I've been up to since the last image you saw. I believe this is the last one, which was a close-up of my bathroom heater. Let's see, the following day, during a rainy day, I walked over and almost stepped on this poor earthworm that had made its way out to the street. Decided that was a cool image you wouldn't see every day, and there you go. The following day, eating ramen with some coworkers, I snapped this particular image. After that, across the street from us, we have a complex of office buildings that offered up some cool sort of geometric shapes juxtaposed over or in front of some interesting clouds. I like how the sun was peeking out over one of the buildings there. The following day, at a new sushi place that we found, I happened to think that the colors and the architecture where the sushi chefs were working was pretty interesting. And the following day, after a long day of work, this picture sort of tells a story. If you look at the clock on the wall there, it's a little past midnight, and I was just exhausted. After that, I don't know if you see it on this previous image, but just above here, we have a chandelier that's made up of these glass spheres with a lot of faceting on them. And when you get a close-up on them, you get these cool reflections and shapes, being reflected inside the spheres. I thought that was a kind of a cool picture. This is my son staring at his BB-8 toy. I just love the innocence that comes across, and decided that would make a good picture for that particular day. The following day, for lunch, we work not too far from the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, or otherwise known as LACMA, and you get a variety of food trucks that just park along the side of the street, and we happened to be there that day, and I thought I'd share that through this particular image. Next, I wanted to see what the iPhone 6s could do with running water. I wanted to see if it would blur it, if it was a slow shutter speed, or if it would freeze it. And to my surprise, at least in this particular instance, it looks like it did a pretty good job of freezing the water, and using the on-phone flash for lighting, you could see that the light was just bouncing all over the place as the water was running out, and I just thought it looked really cool. And to my surprise, there was a lot of crud under the faucet, so I'm gonna have to get on that. Next, I just asked my daughter to just ham it up for the camera, and this is what came of that. It was rainy this day, and well, it had stopped raining by now, but there was still a lot of water in the bushes, moisture, and some of the leaves, these bright green yellow leaves, still had some drops on them that I thought looked pretty poetic as far as nature imagery goes, and so I decided to capture that. This was at a restaurant. They had these old-fashioned light fixtures, and I stuck my phone right underneath one of them, and because I wanted to see the detail on the lighting element, and I liked how the glass housing sort of bounced and reflected everything around the frame here, and I thought that was a cool image. That's me just taking a selfie. Ran out of ideas that day, I suppose. And on another rainy day, some of the water got trapped in the grid of our window screens, and that creates sort of a, I don't know, I work on computers a lot, and to me this just looked like a digital pixel pattern or something, so that captured my eye. This was another chandelier. This time I guess this is paper or some sort of fabric, but I thought it made for a cool image. This is me again. I don't know, just thought I'd play around with some black and white portraiture, and I had my hoodie on that day. Decided to pull it over my head and took that picture. I turned my camera lens around 180 with an adapter, and it creates this, it basically makes the lens into a macro lens, and I decided to take a close-up of Benjamin Franklin on a $100 bill. That's me again. I wanted to get a cool portrait, basically of the gaze, you know, the eyes looking at the lens. I don't know, always says something, so you tell me what that says. My son on this particular day collecting worms, just thought it made for a cool kid picture. My wife's rose bushes provide plenty of thorny branches, and I decided to take a close-up of one, not realizing there was this little, I don't know what this is. I'm gonna assume maybe that's like a spider egg, but it's open to interpretation. I just really like that image. I wanted to do or try my hand rather at a little street photography. I was a little nervous. The lady might get upset at me taking her picture. I don't know who she is. I don't know what the rules are for taking street photography, but I snapped this during lunch, and that's what this is. This is a little, I don't know, garden ornament at my son's daycare, and I just liked how torn up and weathered, and you know, being out in the sun, it fades, and just decided to take a picture of that. This is in front of our work building. Again, just trying my hand at street photography, and this was as the sun was setting. I was making my way over to the coffee bean that's there, but it made for a cool, interesting picture. I wanted to see what just everyday mundane objects such as a plastic drinking cup could create, and I started out just taking pictures of it, you know, from far away. And then I thought, well, why don't I crush it with my hand and, you know, stick the camera in there, in this case the iPhone 6s, and see what it creates. And you can see that, at least for me, I like these little bright veiny type shapes that the crushed plastic creates. And of course, all of my pictures get processed through Lightroom, so there's a little bit of that augmentation happening, but that's what the inside of a crushed plastic cup looks like. This is one of the, you know, if you park in our building, you get a parking ticket that you have to pay, you know, before you can leave. And this is one of the machines where you do so, and it has this nice green stripe sort of in the middle of it that always catches my eye, and I decided this day I'm gonna take a picture of that. So there you go. And I think this is the last picture so far. This was on my commute. I was dropping off my son at daycare, and on the way, we hit a roadblock, and this is what was causing the traffic problems. Someone was just driving a little too fast on a rainy morning, and so this is one of the eventualities that can happen if you do so on a slick road. I hope they're okay. By the time we drove there wasn't anybody in the cars, so I'm going to assume everyone was okay. The authorities hadn't gotten there yet, so I think it had happened maybe 5 or 10 minutes before we drove by. But that's it so far. I'm finding that one of the hardest things about having or doing a 365 project is keeping it fresh, keeping it fun or entertaining. At least for me, every day is sort of like, what am I going to take a picture of today? And so far the strategy has been, well, let's see what comes up. But someone suggested that maybe I should just look up a list online of ideas for a 365 project, or write down my own ideas, as many as I can, so that I don't run out of ideas for taking pictures that day. But again, that just depends on how much time I have, and how many opportunities I get to do that. Weekends are easier just because I have obviously the whole weekend. Weekdays are very hard because of long work days, and my job consists of sitting in front of the computer for most of the day, so not a lot of exciting opportunities for picture taking there. But if I can come up with a better solution for a 365 project, I will make sure to share it. But otherwise, it is now February, and this is how far along I am. I hope you are enjoying the images as I am. Again, just trying to keep them fresh, and we'll see. Hopefully by the end of the year, it'll all have been worth it. And the plan is I'm going to try and print a book with all the pictures and just call it 2017, because that's what it was. And we'll hopefully share that with you. Till then, I hope you enjoy the images. If you have any comments, critiques, thoughts, ideas, please share them, and I will try my best to respond and get back to you. Otherwise, we'll see you on the flip side, and thanks for watching.